Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video. These just arrived in the post today. I am very excited. So these are the Jane Davenport layer cake colour wheels. There are quite a few of them. I only have a little sample. Yeah, they are a cross between a gouache and a watercolour. I haven't really done a great deal with them yet. I've just had a play with one palette, in fact, and just kind of brushed a few colours. They're beautiful. So I thought what I'd do is just do a real-time video, just having a play and seeing how they behave. So I literally know nothing about these except that they are a cross between a gouache and a watercolour, and you can layer them over each other as the name suggests. So I'm going to grab a big old journal and I'm going to just swatch out some colours. So let me make sure that's in view. Yep. I'm just going to grab my water and my cloth to dab my brush on. So I'm going to start off with this one. This is called Golf Pants. They're just such fabulous names. Those colours, aren't they just amazing? The sun catching them. So this is the palette that I've had a bit of a play with, and the colours are just so pretty. I'm going to use quite a big brush, so you need a little bit of water. The more water you use, the more kind of translucent your paints will be. That's really funny. I was just thinking I might give mum and dad a ring in a bit. Look at those, gorgeous. So that one is, let's find Golf Pants. Where is it? There we go. This one's called Sand Trap. That's very appropriate for golf. I don't play golf, but this one, the green. It's a very pale green, this one, but oh, that's very pale. So this is, I've caught a bit of the yellow. This page has got no gesso on it at all. And what I'm going to do is have a play with it on gesso paper. Then I might have a go with normal gesso, and then maybe a bit of watercolour gesso as well. This blue is the club. I mean, just how gorgeous are these colours? I intend to swatch all of these colours on these pages. I'm just going to go crazy. This lovely purple, the caddy. And I guess the other thing about these is that you could swipe it down the middle of both colours as well and do a bit of kind of colour mixing. Or even get those like individual stripes. This pink is called Four. Wait till you see this. Oh my gosh. Ah. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's, have I done all of them? I think so. So what I'm going to be interested to see is whether or not you can layer over the top of these with pens and things. So I'm going to be having a bit of a play. Spring to Life, that's this palette here. So I'm just going to use these as my swatches, I think. So these are all like colours of spring. So leafy, this is a nice bright green. Wow, these colours are so vibrant. And then if you catch a bit of that reddy brown in there, it'll make it go more like a mucky green. This yellow is called Pollen. I think I'd have been better with a slightly smaller brush, but I'm sticking with this one now. Oh, wow. These colours make me happy. This purple, this is called Petal. Let's put it next to the other kind of purpley colour so that we can compare. Aren't they beaut? This dark purple is called Blossom. These colours I think are going to be lovely. Oh, wow. And then this last one is called Bloom. Oh no, beg your pardon, Buds. Oh, that's pretty. Well, can't wait to see this one on there. Oh my days. Oh, and look, they do layer really nicely over the top of each other. So there we've got a little bit of like that kind of effect you would expect with watercolour happening. This one is Bloom. This is like an orangey red. Almost coral, I guess. A corally colour. Yeah. Now, I've never really been a massive fan of those sort of coral shades, but that's all right. Okay, so I'm going to put that one out of the way because we've had a look at that one. This one is particularly good for like skin tones, I think, called Puppy Circus. I'll have a play with that one in a bit. I'm going to go with all these bold ones first. This one is called Heaven and Earth. Let's find the names for that. And I kind of want to see things like how will it splatter and how will other paints behave on the top of it. So we've got Fields of Green. That makes me think of that Sting song, Fields of Gold. Oh wow, that's a rich green. I like that. Oh, I can see I'm going to have to buy more of these. Oh dear. Then we've got this one, which I think is that one Prairie. No, I think this one's Heaven's Vault. I picked up some yellow there. I love the way that they're playing together. Wild Blue Yonder. Honestly, how do they come up with these names? Oh, that's a pretty blue. I do like that. Then we've got this nice dark blue. This is called Firmament. I'm a little bit snuffly today. So that's not an easy word to say when you've got a bit of a snuffle. Too many M's and N's in there. And then we've got this sort of like a fir green. This is called Meadow. Oh, that's interesting if you mix a bit of that blue in with it as well. That's gone mucky. Not bothered. It's fine. And then this last one is Prairie. I might grab a slightly smaller brush. This is an Art by Marlene brush. So, just kind of playing with swatching these colours. Just lots of fun. Let's go in with some of these crazy pinks. This is called Pinkyosity. Oh dear, brilliant. I think some of these are going to be gorgeous. Let's use this little brush. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure which is which. Let's see. Let's go with this one. These are all so similar. I genuinely don't know which is which. This is very similar to that one that I swatched from the other palette, but I don't mind that. I like pinks. I don't kind of think you can have too many pinks. I wonder if that was Barbie. This might be Bubblegum, or is this Shell? Don't know. I'm not even going to pretend that I can work out which is which. They're just all various shades of pink. And aren't they pretty? Okay, this is a bold one. They do make the other colours really pop. So the less water you have, the more kind of creamy they become, and the creamier they go on. If you add more water, they are more like a watercolor. So it's just kind of interesting to have a play and see how they behave. And then you can, I'm having to play with the layering, and they're called layer cakes. Let's see how they layer on each other. Pretty. They're very nice colours. I like those. So that was Pinkyosity. Let's go with this one. This is Fall in Love. Perfect for this time of year for me. We are heading into autumn. I'm kind of already in autumn already. Come on, where are you? Here we go. Found it. Right, so we've got these lovely kind of autumnal colours. Ooh, that's raked leaf. Oh my gosh, look at, wait till you see that. Oh, that is lush. Oh my, that is so rich. Oh gosh. Oh, I love that colour. Oh. Okay, this one. Actually, I think that might have been maple. I think these are raked leaves. Yeah. I'm not really a big brown fan, but I do like, that's a warm brown. I do like that. It kind of brings a richness to the page. Cozy. This is called Cozy. So on Jane's YouTube channel, there are loads of videos there kind of taking you through how these things behave. I think it's always fun though when you get something new, isn't it, to have a play and just kind of find out what it can do and how you can use it in your work. That's a beautiful orange. I think that might be pumpkin spice. That is so pretty. I am having so much fun. Right, moss. Ooh, a bit too much water there. This is like a slightly more of a sort of pastel green. It's pretty though. It's quite a gentle colour, that one, I would say. And then we've got All Hallows Eve. I wonder if this might be like a purpley blue. Oh, that's nice. I like that. Oh, that is pretty. I'm just trying to find spaces now. Okay, so let's layer some of that one over that light blue. Let's try it over the purple. I think I might use this page to do some masking over the top, but I don't know. We'll see. Or I might just leave it all nice and colourful. Pages don't have to be a finished project, do they? Ooh, say, I like those. Okay, let's have a look at these ones. These are a bit more like skin tone type of shades. I'm just going to give this a little dry. It'll be interesting to see how they behave once they are dry. You see they're quite opaque. So pretty. Okay, so if you dab them, you can lift off a little bit, you know, like you can with watercolour paint. That's kind of happening here as well. So that is very, very colourful. I do like all those pinks. They are making me very happy. Right. So now it'll be interesting to see how these behave over the top. Okay, let's go with this nice. So these are all definitely more skin tones. This is called Countenance. Oh yeah, pretty. They do layer. They've almost got a bit of a chalky feel. But I think I might be in love. So then let's go this one, which is... So I think that one was Kisser. I feel this one might be called Visage. It's got a bit more of a pinky undertone. That'll be perfect for those paler skin tones. Then we've got Dial. Ooh, pretty. Then Boat Race. Ooh, I've picked up some of the blue. Now that's interesting. So painting over, it reactivates the darker colours. But actually that's quite a cool effect. Dial. I'm amazed. I really like all these browns that are on this page. It's not really my kind of usual jam. Oh, and I've got a white. Oh, interesting. Okay. I might have to invest in another palette that's got... yeah, so it definitely picks up. Whatever colour you brush it over, it picks up. Unless you just bat it down like that. Bop. Bop. So if you press it down, it doesn't lift. If you wipe over, it picks up when it's thicker. Okay, so if it's thicker, if you've got lots on your brush, nice and opaque, it picks up less of the colour that you're brushing over. It's when it's more watery. So you can layer them if you go in with it a little bit thicker. Okay, fascinating. One more to go. That is bonkers, isn't it, that page? All those colours. This is Puppy Circus. Lots of lovely, rich skin tones in here. Oh, that's quite a pretty colour, isn't it? Oh, I like that. I can see this one's going to be super useful. Lovely. Lots of kind of nice neutrals, warm tone, and And then that one. Okay, so that's all of them swatched out. Just seeing how they kind of play together, what they do. That's really pretty. Right, so now I'm going to go in with some Jane Davenport gesso. This is a watercolour gesso. I just want to see how they behave on this. So let's shimmy that out of the way. This is the Jane Davenport watercolour gesso. Kind of had to play with this with my art journal lovers. We had a bit of an experiment just to see how it made inks behave. It's white, so it does change the colour of your background, but it was so effective at kind of creating that, priming your surface so that your things will behave in a watercolour way. I've dribbled there, look at that. Let's make sure it doesn't stick all those pages together. This journal has been on the go for such a long time. Back from the Scrap FX days. So that's watercolour gesso, and this is Dina's white gesso. I just want to see how these colours behave on the gesso. So I might just swatch a few of the colours. So I think it's important to kind of learn about what you can do with your supplies. When I first started art journaling, I kind of didn't really do a great deal of this, but I think it, you know, when you like to play and experiment a bit, this is quite fun. This is kind of like the play phase of learning about what you can do. I mean, that would make a fabulous background for just writing some bold words over the top or masking over. Yeah, there's so many things you could do with that. So I'm just drying that gesso. So that doesn't feel grainy at all. It's quite smooth to the touch. These Dylusions journals have got lovely smooth cardstock in them. I think if you're just starting out in art journaling, the Dylusions journals are a good starting point, really. Okay, so whoops. Let's go with a nice bold one so we can kind of see what's going to happen. Let's go this one. So this is Golf Pants. So let's move these up out of the way. Right, just making sure that I'm in camera shot. So this is the paper that it came wrapped in. I'm going to keep these and maybe do a little bit, some journal pages with those. So I've carefully cut those up so I can use them. Right, I really ought to go and change my water, but I'm far too excited to play with these, so my water is a bit grungy. Right, so let's start off with this nice bold pink. So this is the watercolour gesso. Is it going to make it behave any differently? So what I'm interested to know is, will it... So I can kind of pull that out. Can I do the same here? I can, but that's very similar, isn't it, how it's behaving? So I can lay down a really bold splash of it. Will it play with each other? No, it doesn't bleed into itself. Let's go in over here and interesting. It's kind of different how it's sitting on the surface on these pages, very much. Can I go in with even more on there? What happens if I put more on here? What will it do? Yeah, it definitely moves around happier on the watercolour gesso than it does on the normal gesso. Yeah, I don't think that's not really going to show up on here, but it's kind of puddling. Got my palette quite wet here. Okay, let's come with this lovely blue. So you can layer them over the top. Look, here I'm doing a bit of mixing, making a sort of lilac-y colour. Yeah, they behave better on the watercolour gesso than they do on the normal gesso. So I would say watercolour paper is, mixed media paper is probably going to be, if you want them to behave properly. Although they behaved really nicely on this ungessoed paper over here. You can see here I've got lots of puddling when there's less on this one. So I'm going to just go in and mop some of that up. Let's just get rid of that little dribble there. So one thing, having watched Jane's videos, she says that you can layer the colours. So let's, yes you can. Look. Too much water. That's all right. Oh, pretty. You can even go in over the top of the same colour and make it darker. This one. Okay. I wonder if it'll splatter. Should we try? Oh yes. I like that. Let's do some more of those. Okay. Right, so what I also want to do is I'm going to give this a dry, and then I want to see how pens work over the top. I'm going to put the lid back on this one. I've made that quite wet, but I'm okay with that. I really am. Let's just see if I can just gather up a bit more of that pink. A little bit of a puddle there. Not much. It's definitely puddled less on the watercolour gesso. I like the way it looks on the watercolour gesso more than on here. It's kind of, it's a bit pasty, isn't it? But you know what? If that's what you've got, you can make that work. Yeah, it layers fine over the top. The colours are just, oh, just beautiful. Okay, stop faffing up there. The colours are so pretty. I'm going to get that mostly dry. Let me give this a bit of a dry on this side, and then I want to see how pens will work over the top. We'll go maybe some Life of Colour and Posca. And I think it's dry enough, apart from the little splatters maybe. Shall we draw some, let's draw some leaves on here. Okay, so I can already feel that the pen is not drawing on there particularly easily. So I think you would maybe have to add some sort of workable fixative on there to get your paint pen to go over without too much fuss. Let's try Life of Colour. Oh no, that behaves a bit better. This is a brush tip pen from Life of Colour. Yeah. Maybe this pen is just running out of ink. You see, that's going on all right, isn't it? Maybe it was just my pen. Definitely feels a little like there's a bit of resistance with the Posca pen. It's a little bit like when you try and use pens, oh dearie me, paint pens over the top of pigment sticks. I'm going to try a white. I want to know if, yes, there's my answer. So white pen over the top, it's reactive. So you're going to end up with the colour coming into the pen if you are pulling your pen across. So you can see I've got pink on the tip of my Posca pen there, which doesn't necessarily bother me, really. So let me just mop up some of these splots. So not a massive difference, but you can see this behaves more like watercolour on the Watercolor Gesso. So you get those kind of watercolour reactions. So I think it's going to be really fun to play with these and just kind of see what they do and how they behave. Let me just grab a stencil, and I want to try and just stencil over the top and see what happens there. So I'm just going to grab, this is a Dina Wakley paint, it's called Iris. And I want to try stenciling over the top, because one of the things that I like to do in my artwork is to create lots of layers. So I just want to see what happens if I add some paint over the top of it. How is it going to behave? Is it going to behave? Yes, it is. So I think it's going to be great. It's going to work quite nicely with paints over the top to create those kind of layered pages. And stamping, of course, on it will be, shouldn't be a problem at all, really. Let's have a try just to be sure. I think the colours that you get in these palettes are just so vibrant. There's so many possibilities of the things you could do with them. So yeah, they can be something that could slot straight into your kind of mixed media practice. It would be super fun to play with. So let me just write up there so I can remember what it was we've used. So Jane Davenport. Colour wheels. This has got this one is white gesso, and this here no gesso. Okay, so lots of fun to play with. I will be using these in my journal pages, so you will see them appearing in the future. As far as I know, the only place that you can get these from is Jane's website in Australia. Just be careful you don't get caught with import tax. But yeah, beautiful, aren't they lovely? They're so bright and vibrant. They're going to be so much fun to play with. Thanks for watching. If you've stuck right through to the end, well done. Yeah, and I hope to see you again soon.